Hello everyone, welcome to 3S Yoga. I am your awkward teacher Nadeya, and I'm super happy to have you here today. And I get to lead Alicia in a class, so we can be in the same room and we're 6 feet apart. This episode is brought to you by toilet paper and Lysol. You can go ahead and start out in child's pose. Bring your knees nice and wide and your toes together. And I like to give my hips a little bit of a wiggle when I first get into child's pose, just to create a little bit more space in your hips and let your belly drop a little bit further down, and then let yourself release into that pose. Let your forehead rest on the mat, and then give your head a little back and forth, just to feel your forehead root into the ground, and then come back to center, feeling rooted and grounded. Let's take a moment before we start moving and grooving to come into awareness of your breath, starting to make them more intentional. If you have Ujjayi breath, and can start breathing in and out of your nose with a slight constriction in your throat on your exhale. Sounds like this. Starts to sound like the ocean, and your exhales begin to echo your inhales. Moving up into all fours, you're going to bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. You're going to take a couple cat-cows to get in touch with your spine, dropping your belly. Pause for just a moment when you get to cow, and let your tailbone lift as the top of your head lifts, and then let your triceps wrap back. Awesome. And then pull your belly into your spine, letting your tailbone and head drop down. Press into your hands to feel your shoulder blades start to separate. It feels really good in your back. And then you're going to go at your own pace. So dropping your belly as you inhale, and don't move until your inhale is completed, and then exhale into cat, not moving again until that's completed. So cat-cow can become your own thing in class. It's more about getting in touch with your spine, feeling your shoulders, and moving, connecting your breath with your movements. It's a lot of times why we do it early in class. So if you feel like doing some twists or doing anything fun, this is your spot to go for that here. Even if your teacher doesn't say it in class, don't forget that we're just suggesting movements to you. So do what feels good for you. And when you're ready, we will meet back up in neutral. Oh great, Alicia's ready. So walk your hands forward a couple of inches, tuck your toes under, press into the inside of your index finger and your thumb, and press back into downward facing dog. Hips lift up and back, heels press down. Awesome, bring your ears in line with your biceps. Great. So your hips are trying to pull back, your hips move away from your shoulders. And then your head is pulling forward, it's moving away from your shoulders. So everything is pulling away in separate directions. And as your heels press down, you help bring the weight out of your hands. And then bend your right knee and press your left heel down, getting some sensation in the back of your left leg, and switch legs. We call this walking the dog. So if you don't have a dog, you'll really love walking the experience, going at your own pace. And press back into down dog. Come up onto your tippy toes and very slowly walk your toes all the way up into your hands into a forward fold. Straighten out your legs as much as it feels good. And then let your hips glide forward as the weight moves into the balls of your feet. And then glance towards your belly button. So as your hips glide forward, you're going to feel a stretch in your hamstrings. And as you glance up towards your belly button, you're going to feel a release in your low back. Bring a bend into your knees and very slowly roll all the way up to a standing position. Here we go, we're going to move into the A series. Toes together, heels apart, ground through your feet. Inhale as your hands lift up to the sky, your shoulders are still moving down. And exhale, forward fold, hips glide forward, weight moves into the ball of your feet. Inhaling, halfway lift, straight spine. And exhale, step back into chaturanga. Shoulders move forward, elbows hug into your ribs, belly pulls in. Inhaling, upward facing dog, untucking your toes. And exhale, belly lifts up, hips pull back, down dog. Bend your knees and glance forward, and exhale, step or jump top of your mat. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Soak in your forward fold every time. Inhale as your hands lift up to the sky. And straight away, we're going to exhale into a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, step or jump chaturanga. Remember that chaturanga is a pose, so you're actually going to pause here this time. Elbows hug in and pause. Belly pulls in. And then see if you can pull your heart forward. Inhale into upward facing dog. Awesome work. Exhale, downward facing dog. That good old chaturanga gets you every time. Bend your knees and glance forward. Exhale, step or jump. Inhaling, half lift. Try to straighten out your back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale all the way up to standing. And one more time, exhale, forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, move through your vinyasa. It's okay to put your knees down in chaturanga, or it's okay just to go straight to down dog. Chaturanga, up dog, down dog at your own pace. We will meet up in down dog. Pause here and inhale, let your right leg lift. Your hips are staying neutral. Your left heel is pressing down as your right heel pulls back. Your toes are facing down towards the mat or 10 degrees to the left to keep your hips neutral. Really pull your foot back as hard as you can, really long like a CVS receipt. And exhale your knee to your nose and pause. Pull your belly into your spine. Press your hands hard into the ground. Lift your knee an inch higher. Pull it in an inch higher, beautiful work, and place your foot in between your hands. Inhale up into warrior two. Your back heel is going to pivot down and come all the way up. Your back foot is facing directly out to the side while your front foot is facing forward. And you're going to seal in the outer edge of your left foot. So all the way from your pinky to your heel is pressing down into the mat, almost like a Ziploc bag, sealing it down as the inside of your left arch lifts. Awesome. You're pressing into the big toe mound of your right foot. And you're going to use your right inner thigh to move forward and to the right to encourage your knee to stay over your ankle. Relax your jaw. On your next exhale, cartwheel your hands down to the mat, bringing your back heel off the mat. Pause here. Drop your back knee down, untuck your toes, and bring your hands up onto your right thigh. Awesome. You're going to press into your hands to pull your hip away from your femur. So your right hip pulls back, feeling a little separation between your hip and your leg as your left hip rolls forward. You can stay here, or you can let your left arm move forward. And as it pulls forward, you will get a deeper stretch in your left hip flexor. And if you want more, you can take both arms up to the sky. Your right arm will grab onto your left wrist and see if you can move it over towards the right. Your palm is facing down and your left shoulder is still moving away from your ear. Great. Bring your hands back up overhead and exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee, step back into plank and pause. Awesome. Press into every single knuckle of your hands and press into your hands to lift out of your shoulders a little bit. Your heels are pressing back and your chest is pulling forward through the frame of your hands. So your heels and chest are pulling in opposition. Let your thigh bones absorb up into your hamstrings. And then move into your tippy toes as your shoulders come forward. You can drop your knees if you'd like. Chaturanga. Pause for just a moment here. And then inhale into upward facing dog or cobra. And exhale into downward facing dog. You're doing beautiful, Alicia. It's hot in here. We have lights on us. So inhale, let your left leg lift and pause. Left heel pulls back as your right heel presses down, again, keeping your hips neutral. It's a really good feeling. If you've never had this feeling before, it's really good. Checking in with your Ujjayi breath, make sure you're relaxing your jaw. Exhale, let your left knee pull into your chest, pausing here. Shoulders are stacking over your wrists. Pull your belly into your spine. Press into your hands to lift your knee an inch higher. Yes, pull it an inch higher. Make the space between your arms. Step your foot between your hands. Inhale up into warrior two. Hip, hip, hooray. Awesome. So let your palms face down for me. And you're gonna let your right thigh press back into your right hamstring, and that's gonna get you a little bit of a stretch in your right hip flexor as your tailbone scoops under just a tiny bit. Your torso is straight up and down. And let your shoulders relax down your back like you don't care. Yeah. And then you're pressing energetically through your hands. And then let your fingers, your middle fingers, pull away from each other. And then relax your shoulders again. Glancing over your front middle finger. This is a super strong pose. On your next exhale, you're going to cartwheel your hands down around your front foot, back heel pivots up, and go ahead and drop your back knee down. Untuck your toes and lift your hands up to your left thigh. Great work. First, you're going to press into your thigh as you let your left hip pull back away from the femur, and your right hip travels forward. And then bring a little scoop into your pelvis. So it's scooping forward as your tailbone tries to point down towards the mat. And that's where the yummy is. You can stay right here if you like it, or you can take your right arm straight out in front of you as it pulls forward. And then to go deeper, take it overhead and meeting it with the left arm. Left arm takes the right wrist and reach over towards the side. Great work. Getting a little stretch in your side body all the way into your hip flexors, into your thigh. Releasing back towards center. Bring your hands back down beside either side of the foot. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, step back into plank and pause because I love you. Breathing in and out of your nose. See if you can pull your chin back towards the back of your neck and then lengthen through the top of your head. Alicia's like, I didn't sign up for this. Breathing nice and slow. Heels and chest in opposition. Inhale, bring your shoulders past your fingertips. She's going to skip this part. Oh, no. Bring your shoulders past your fingertips, and then elbows hug in as you move into chaturanga for a pause. Inhale into upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Great work. Pressing your heels down, I want you to give your hips a little wiggle side to side. Just nice and slow, checking in with your back and your hips. It feels good. I like things that feel good. There's a word for people like that. I can't remember what it is. Bend your knees and look forward. Exhale, step or jump between your hands. Inhaling, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. And inhale, give me a chair. Give me a chair. I want your weight in your heels, and I want your inner thighs to try to move towards each other and then roll down towards the mat. Scoop your pelvis forward like you're trying to scoop some ice cream up as your belly pulls back, lifting up through your chest. And exhale, forward fold. Great work. Let your hips glide forward, getting that hamstring stretch. It's okay to bend your knees, y'all. Inhaling, halfway lift. And exhale, move through your vinyasa. Whatever that looks like for you today. It's not about pushing yourself and looking cool, especially when you're at home. So just take care of yourself. Inhale, let your right leg lift. And exhale, step it between your hands. Inhaling up into warrior two. Back heel pivots down, cartwheeling up. Gorgeous. Palms facing down for me. I know you do that. She does a mudra. I say no. Moving into side angle pose, you're going to let your right arm move to your right thigh and inhale your left arm either up to the sky or overhead. So the same feet as warrior two, you're sealing in the outer edge of your back foot. It lifts up your left arch, your left calf, and your left inner thigh. And then I want you to press your left thigh bone back into your left hamstring. Yes. Okay, now press into your right forearm, lifting up a little bit higher out of your shoulder, not collapsing down. And then let your right side body, the side that's on the bottom, pull and lengthen forward. Awesome. If you have a bind or want to do anything like that here, this is your moment. Otherwise, just soak in this beautiful lengthened pose. You don't have to do a full bind like Alicia. You can also take a half bind, which is just leaving your top arm around your back and leaving your front arm where it is. Great. When you're done playing, we're going to meet back up in side angle pose. Coming right back up into warrior two. And then straighten out your front leg. Yay. Step your back foot up a few inches, just about 6 inches. And we're moving into triangle. So let your hands pull forward as your hips pull back. Right forward, yeah, left hips back. And then release your right hand down to your right calf or shin as you reach your left arm up to the sky. So I want your right hip to press forward as your left hip rolls back. And you might be kind of swirling with your back like a rainbow shape. If you feel that, let your right hand come up a little bit higher, and then let your right side body lengthen forward again. Awesome, as your left side body opens up to the sky. And then exhale, release your hands down to the ground. Let your back heel pivot up. Move your back foot even further back into a nice, low, long lunge. And then move your right foot out to the side as you let both arms come to the inside of your foot. Great. We're going to pause here for a moment. Keeping your leg nice and high. You're going to press through your left heel as your chest pulls forward. And again, we're pressing the back of the left knee up. And then slowly rock forward and back, nice and slow. Okay, now meet back with your heel pressing back. Bring your left knee down, untuck your toes. Scoot your knee back a little bit further to take the pressure off of your knee. And then you can stay up nice and high in a lizard, or you can move down onto your forearms, whatever tickles your pickles. If you have blocks at home, or if you have like nice big sturdy couch cushions, you can also put that underneath your hands. Just getting into your hips. Get some lovely sensations. And try to relax your jaw. Come back up onto your hands. Take your right hand to the inside of your right thigh and press your leg open. So right hand, right thigh, pressing it open. So you come onto the outside of your right foot so your bottom of your foot lifts up off the ground. Yeah. You can also see what it feels like differently if you let your right shoulder move forward instead of out. Check out the different sensations that happen. And if you feel like getting a quad stretch, you can bring your left heel towards your bottom as your right hand reaches around to grab it. Yeah. And again, if you want to get deeper here, you let your right shoulder pull forward. It gets deeper, pulling your leg a little bit more. You're doing great, Alicia. Very slowly release your foot. Don't let it go flying out. Bring your hand back to the inside of your right leg. Tuck your back toes under. Lift your back knee up. Step your right foot back into plank. Pause here for a moment. Keeping your chest right where it is. Let your heels fall over towards the right. Chest pulls forward. Nope. Hands down, chest pulls forward. Yeah, pull your belly in. Strengthen through your arms. Yeah. Come back to the center and switch sides. Chest pulling forward. That's a different kind of side plank. Come back towards the middle. Shoulders move forward, elbows hug back, chaturanga. Or skip it all together and take a child's pose. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. I'm sorry, but you have two sides.
I know.
Just remember, cats have like 4 legs, so they have 4 sides. Inhale, let your left leg lift. Pause here for just a moment. Bring your knee to your nose. Step your left foot between your hands. Inhale up into my favorite pose today, Warrior Two. Warrior Two is brought to you by the toilet paper stand. Great work. Check to see if your front ribs are poking out and imagine them getting tapped back and letting your back ribs lift away from your hips. And then let your shoulders relax. Yeah. Coming into side angle pose, let your left arm move to your left thigh, reaching up overhead or wherever you want. Don't forget to press into your left arm to lift out of your shoulder as your left body lengthens and your right body opens. I love side angle pose. I love the feeling of my right thigh pressing back into my right hamstring and getting that length in the stretch here. Great work. Press into your left foot as you inhale up into Warrior Two. Oh, you can bind. Sorry, if you bind it on the other side, by all means, bind and play every day. Coming back into Warrior Two. I'll make you hold Warrior Two for a second just so they can finish their binds. She's like you, capital B. Okay, you can straighten out your front leg. Bring your back foot in about 6 inches. I didn't say to drop your arms. I said straighten your leg. Try to straighten out your front leg. Let your left hand pull forward as your hips pull back, moving into triangle. Great work. Awesome. So I want your left hip to move towards me. So your bottom hip pulls forward as your top hip rolls back. Great. And if you need to lift a little bit higher, you can as you pull your left side body forward. And if you're one of those people that like to grab onto your big toe, by all means, grab onto your big toe. But the goal in this pose is actually to have a straight spine, unless that's not your goal today. Yay, coming up next is lizard, so you've got it coming up. Release your arms down to the ground, let your back heel pivot off, and bring your back foot back deeper into a low lunge. Bring your left foot out towards the left as your left hand comes to the inside of your left leg, and drop your back knee down, untucking your back toes. Great work, scoot your right knee back a little bit more. Yep, and then you can stay up high, or you can come down low onto your forearms. It might be totally different on this side. Let yourself relax, surrender, release. Check in with your hips and your glutes, your thighs, and see if you're clenching. Try to let it go. Alicia didn't get into this pose in a day or a week, maybe not even a month. It takes time to get this deep. So let yourself take your time. I still stay on my hands on my left side because it hurts. So. Come back up onto your hands. Great. Take your left hand to the inside of your left thigh and press it open. Coming onto the outside of your left foot. Playing with your shoulder placement, checking, bringing the left shoulder forward. You just check in and see which one feels better, and then do that one. I'm not your mom. Costs extra. If you want to get a quad stretch, go ahead and bring your right foot towards your glute, and then reach your left arm around. And if you did a quad stretch on one side and you don't on the other side, it's fine. You're not going to be that unbalanced. Bring your left shoulder forward to get deep. Ah. How good does that feel?
It's awesome.
She said it's awesome. Okay, slowly release your foot. Don't let it plop. Bring your hand back down to the ground. Tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee. Step your left foot back. Yeah, left foot back moves into plank. Yeah. And since she's dying for a side plank, we're gonna pause here. You're gonna bring your feet over to the right. Yep, stacking your feet and lifting your left arm up to the sky. You're trying to stack your right shoulder over your wrist. Right, so I'm gonna give Alicia some notes. I want your left hip to start to glide forward. So it almost feels like you're falling forward, great. And if you wanna bring your toes together and heels slightly apart, you're back in mountain pose. Okay, bring your left hand down, hold in a plank for a moment as you transition over to the other side. Great work. So it almost feels like you're falling forward in this pose. Instead of let your hip fall back, you're bringing it forward to keep them up in neutral. A little smile never hurt anybody. Ow, that actually hurt. In a beautiful way. Come back into plank. Release your knees down. Great. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders, hips over your knees. I'm going to let you take a couple more cat-cows just because they feel good. You can check in with your body and see how it feels differently now than before. So dropping your belly, inhaling as you glance up. Pull your belly to your spine, exhaling down. Going at your own pace. Great work. You're going to find your way in a seated position, however you want to get there. Great. We're going to move into a fire log to get a little bit more of a hip opener on the side. You take your right ankle on top of your left thigh. Yep. And I want you to flex your right foot to protect your right knee. Great. So it might not look like this for everybody. For me, it looks more like this sometimes. And also, if this is too much for you, go ahead and come onto your back and lie on your back into a figure four. Otherwise, your right ankle is flexed. You want to grab your right butt cheek and pull it out to the side to get a little bit deeper. Yeah, that'll automatically make it deeper. Then keep a straight spine. You can stay right here. You can place your right hand to the inside of your right thigh just to give it a little bit of weight if this is enough for you. Or keeping a straight spine, you can start to walk your hands forward, finding where you have the sensation that you're looking for today, or the sensation that is looking for you. And then if you want to lower down, you can, but you don't have to. A lot of times having a straight spine is going to get deeper into your hip. Rolling all the way down will give you a nice little low back release as well, and open your hips a little bit more. Alicia's just glad we're done with plank.
How did you know?
If I have to ask for a smile. Bringing it back internally, breathing nice and slow. Again, check in with your thighs and your hips and try to relax and release them. You don't need to clench them. The beautiful earth is supporting you, so you can release. Walk your hands back up. Straighten your legs out in front of you, slowly uncrossing them. If you're lying down, go ahead and meet us up. We're going to take a forward fold. We're going to take 2 rounds of forward fold on each side. So I want you first to do a straight back fold, and the second time we'll let you roll into it. So Alicia already grabbed your butt cheeks and pulled them out to the side. It helps. Inhale, let your arms lengthen up. Let your shoulders move down. And as you exhale, bring your hands to your shins first and pause. And then I want your chest to pull forward, and the top of your head, it's trying to launch like the Space Force all the way out to the far corner of the room. So this gets more into your hamstrings, and the next round when we roll forward, you're gonna get more into your low back. So if you are more flexy, you don't have to keep your hands on your shins. You can walk them forward with still lengthening through your back. And walk your hands back. Give your legs a little bit of a shake. And then you're going to cross your left leg over your right, back into seated position, into fire log. Yeah, so bend those knees. Great. So this side might be totally different. So your left cheek pulls up, yep, and set your sit bone down. Lift up through your chest, flex your left foot. So step one is just staying up nice and tall. If your leg is really close to your butt and you don't have a lot of sensation, then just walk your bottom foot forward underneath your knee and you'll automatically get a more sensation. Don't forget, you can always lie down here and do a figure four, still flexing your foot and pulling your right thigh towards you. So your left leg is relaxing, so your knee can press down a little bit more towards the ground. And if this is enough for you today, this is enough for you today. If not, you can start to straighten your arms and lift through your chest and walk your hands forward. Honoring the different sides of your body. Relax your forehead. Release the space between your brows. Relax your jaw. Slowly start to walk your hands back up. Uncross your legs, walk them straight out in front of you. And this time I'm going to let you curl all the way down, so let your feet come out in front of you. Inhale as you lengthen up. And exhale, let yourself fold. Your hands can come to your legs, wherever they're comfortable, or to your feet, and let your back curl and curve. Feeling a whole different kind of release. And now you have both of these tools in your belt, so when you're in class, you get to choose which one feels best for you and what your body needs that day when your teacher tells you to forward fold. Forward folds are calming for your nervous system. So if you're feeling a lot of anxiety lately or lots going on, this is a great pose. It's also the same effect if you're standing in our forward fold that we did in our A series today. And then you're going to bring your hands back to your hips, and we're going to roll all the way down onto your back. We're going to do my favorite hybrid pose. I like to call it a labradoodle. You're going to bring your feet down to the ground with your close to your butt with your knees up, and your right foot is going to come into happy baby. So your right knee is going to move towards your right armpit, hand on the inside of your knee and to the outside of your foot, happy baby, and let your left leg fall out to the side into butterfly. Yeah. So if you want to get a little bit deeper, you take your left hand to the inside of your left thigh and just let it sit there. You don't have to press or force. And then to get deeper on your happy baby side, I want your foot to be facing straight up to the sky, the bottom of your foot. Yeah, so your knee's at a 90-degree angle. And then see if your right shoulder can move down towards the mat. Bam, deeper. Breathing nice and slow. Giving a moment to open and then nice and slowly, you're going to release your right foot into a butterfly position, reclined butterfly, so your feet come together. And let your low back kind of release for a moment. You don't have to press it down. Just let your body fall where it does. Your back releases into the mat, your upper back, your shoulders, your hips release. And then bring your left knee into your left armpit, coming into a happy baby on the left side, and a butterfly on the right. Instead of a labradoodle, this side can be a chi pin, Chihuahua min pin. Shout out to Gizmo. my best friend Wendy's dog. You can find Gizmo on Instagram. Gizmo Chalk Chi Pen, CHOC. I'll put it in the show notes. Left shoulder pulls down to the mat. Try to release your quads and your hips. And this time your right knee is going to come up into a happy baby as well. Alicia knows we're winding down at the end of class now. She didn't even know she was walking into a yoga class today. Definitely not this one. So you're going to let your low back try to move down to the ground, let your tailbone move towards the ground, and then to get deeper, your shoulders are going to press down as well. Yeah. Opening up your hips a little bit more. We did some external poses today with the warrior two, triangle, side angle. They're all external and hip openers. So that's why we're finishing with fire log and happy baby. Slowly release your feet as your knees hug into your chest and reach around your shins. Bring your head up to your knees. Give yourself a nice big super duper yummy hug. Squeeze it so tight and then release yourself into Savasana. Give a little space between your thighs. Let your feet fall out to the sides. Let your palms face up. And then don't think about anything. You don't even need to think about your breath here. You're just taking this time to let the work soak into your body, to rejuvenate, to heal, as all that strengthening work settles in as well. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana as long as you'd like. I'm going to bring my hands into a prayer to the forehead for the right thoughts, to the mouth for the right words, to your heart for the right actions. Thank you all so much for being here today. It is always my pleasure to lead you in your practice. Namaste.